Okay, so yeah, hips and hamstrings go together like beans on toast, coffee and cake. So that's what we'll focus on this evening. So it'd be good to have a strap handy or something that you can use instead of a strap. And we'll start lying on our backs. So just come to lie down. Hope you can hear me above the sound of the pouring rain on the roof lights. Okay, so just come to lie down. You can have the legs bent or straight, it's up to you. Just take a moment to settle, just allow the body to soften into the floor, soften into the mat. Noticing where you might be tense this evening, holding tension, maybe the face, the back. Just giving yourself a bit of time before we move, just to invite release, to empty out the day you've had so that we can refill with the good stuff. And just begin to notice your breathing, natural breath. And remembering that whenever we are aware of the breath, we're in the present moment. And start to deepen the breath if you haven't already. And then when you're ready, we're going to begin to stretch out the right side. We're going to do quite a kind of long sequence on the right side and then swap. So first of all, just take a full body stretch. Just reach the arms overhead, stretch into the toes, and into the heels. Yawn if you need to. If the yawn comes in, let it, or a sigh, let it emerge. And then just take a big inhale in this full stretch. As you exhale, just draw your right knee in towards the chest. Have your strap handy. And you can just circle the right ankle while we're here. Staying quite active in the left leg. And then just start to draw circles with your knee. So using your hands on your right knee, just to draw little circles to just start to open and lubricate the right hip. And just focusing on hip mobility in all its various directions and hamstrings. And change direction of those circles, just freeing up the hip socket here. We're starting to get the blood moving in the hip socket. And then coming back to the neutral, knee combined with the shoulder, take your strap around the widest part of the right foot, and extend the leg up to the ceiling. So we're active in both legs. If needs to be there, you can bend your left leg or foot on the floor. But we're pressing up and out through the right heel and through the left heel if the left leg's extended. Relax your shoulders and shoulder blades back into the floor. A nice loose grip on the strap so that arms are as relaxed as possible, the face is relaxed. So that's foot and leg, or feet and legs are active. And breathe into the hamstring stretch on the back of the right leg. Okay, at the end of your next exhale, holding both ends of the strap with the right hand, allow the right leg to come out to the right. You can extend your left arm out in the opposite direction. Keep the left buttock down, push out through both heels, breathe into the inner thigh, wherever you're feeling this in the right leg. Inhale, come back to the center, swap your hands, and exhale, allow that the right leg to roll, to come over to the left, and you just let yourself roll with it, so the left leg rolls with it. Listen to your lower back. It's too much to be twisting like this so early on in the class. Don't go so far, or bend the knee. Make it easier for the back. Breathe into the stretch. Now probably feeling it on the outer thigh, and also moving into that outer hip, which is a hot spot we want to focus on tonight. Outer buttock, outer hip. Draw the navel back to the spine, come back to the center. And then just release the strap. And once more, just bend that right knee into the chest, but this time over towards the armpit a little bit. So rather than knee in line with the shoulder, knees just slightly further out to the right, in line with the armpit. Stretching out through the left heel. And then the knee should be more or less in the right place. If we just extend the right foot up towards the ceiling here, we should come into half happy baby more or less. If you can, hold the outside edge of the foot. If not, back of the knee or ankle, whatever you can reach here. Left hand can be pressing left thigh or hip down. And remembering that right knee is towards the right armpit. If possible, the shin is vertical. And then from here, just allow your right heel to come to the buttock. Bend the left knee, place the outer right ankle on the front of the left thigh. So we're going into some quite strong stretches quite early on. So if you need to modify, just keep that left foot on the floor. We'll probably revisit this shape later in the class, but if you can, at this stage, take the left foot off the floor, maybe hold the back of the left knee, or maybe the front of the shin, if that feels okay. And we're in thread the needle. So again, it's that outer hip stretch, lower back. Maybe you feel it in different places. Breathe into wherever you feel it. And then release that left foot down if it's lifted. And hold the shape. We're going to come into that twist. So just keep the legs in exactly the position. Just allow the left leg to come out to the side till the sole of the right foot comes down. And we're in our cross twist with the right knee pointing up. You can extend the right arm, look over the right shoulder. We're kind of beginning the class with stretches that we often close the class with. So just be aware you might not feel as fluid and easy as usual. Modify if you need. Slow, deep breaths. And then slowly come back to the center. So we're going to do all of that on the other side. So just unhook the right leg. Make sure you're centrally aligned through the spine and pelvis and legs, and stretch the arms overhead. So we just take that full body stretch between sides. Again, if your yawn comes, often happens when we stretch, just let it come. And then as you exhale, draw the left knee into the chest, give yourself a hug, squeeze that knee in towards the left side of the chest, pushing out through the right heel on the floor. You can circle that left ankle. Change direction of your foot circles. And then just having the hands on the knee, just allowing the knee to move in circles now. So we start to move into that left hip. Lubricating the hip joint. And change direction of the circles. And then hopefully your strap is still nearby. Next time you come back to the center with the knee, extend that left foot up towards the ceiling. And just start to push up and out through the left heel, activating the foot, activating the right leg if it's extended on the floor. Close the ceiling. Breathe into the back of the left leg. So you're going to feel this all the way up the back of the left leg. Our particular focus is the hamstrings, so the long stringy muscles between the back of the knee and the back of the pelvis, the back of the thigh. But you'll probably feel it on the calf, the lower leg as well, back of the ankle. And then take both ends of the strap in the left hand. Nice loose grip as we allow the left leg to come out to the left. Maybe the right hand's going to anchor down the right thigh or hip. Pressing out through both heels. Breathing into the inner thigh on the left side. Inner groin. And find your core awareness, bring the left leg back to the center, swap the hands, just let the right leg roll with you as you take the left leg over to the right. Looking out over the left shoulder, slow deep breaths. Bend that left knee if you need, or don't go so far if it's too much for the lower back. And then find your core again, bring yourself back to the center, release the strap, bend the knee, and this time again, just slightly offset to the left. So the knee is kind of in line with the armpit, but we're hugging the left knee in towards the left side of the chest. Depressing the ascending colon here, the large intestine. Compressing rather. Pushing out through the right heel as we squeeze the left knee towards the face and in. And then transition to half happy baby. So really it shouldn't be too much difference, just extending the shin vertical, holding onto the outer edge of the foot or the back of the knee, knees close to armpit. Right hand can anchor down right thigh or hip here. And then just bringing that left heel in, bending the right leg, placing the outer left ankle on the front of the right thigh, maybe keeping the right foot on the floor. Otherwise, picking it up, taking the left hand through that little gap under the left calf, holding the front of the right knee or the back of the right knee. Breathe in to thread the needle. And then release that right foot down. Again, hold this shape and just let the right leg drop out to the right till the sole of the left foot comes down, left knee is pointing up. Extend your left arm away, look over the left shoulder. Breathe into the twist. Create space with the breath. And then at the end of your next exhale, come back to the center. Just before we come off our backs, we'll just take a couple of symmetrical postures, just re-centralize in the spine and pelvis, and take full happy baby. So again, a lot of the postures we do at the end. We're just going to start the class of today. So holding both feet or both ankles or backs of the knees. Knees are wide, knees are towards the armpits, shins are vertical. Breathe into the lower back, inner hips. And just explore. We are kind of warming up, so go really gently, but just because we're working with hamstrings, just start to straighten the right leg, just as far as it will go. So it might stay quite bent, but just moving towards straightening that right leg. So in half, this is a shape we'll revisit. And then bring that leg back to happy baby leg. And then do the same with the left side. It might even just be a couple of centimeters or a couple of millimeters, but just start to take the left leg out to the left so that we move closer towards straight or into straight leg on the left side. And just notice how this really moves into the hamstrings on the back of the thigh. And then either come back to happy baby or for a moment just come into full supta posture or move towards it by also straightening the right leg at the same time or moving towards straight. So go really carefully because we are just warming up really. And then slowly coming back to happy baby. We're going to just bring both knees together, give ourselves a hug. So you can hug the front of the shins or the back of the knees. Maybe there's a rock side to side, or maybe just staying in the center. Whenever we're working with tight muscles, for many of us, the hamstrings are tight, go really gently. We never want to force because that's when we can injure. It's quite easy to rip a hamstring, go too far with a stretch and damage a hamstring attachment. So just go And really mindfully listen to what your body's okay with, especially if it's cold. Okay, and then when you're ready, we're going to roll to one side. We're going to just come onto our hands and knees briefly, just for our almost compulsory cat-cows these days. So we're just going to take a few rounds of cat-cow, inhaling into the cow, exhaling into the cat, maybe just 3 complete rounds, 3 or 4, depending on the speed of your breath. Don't forget the head of the neck. And then at the end of your next exhale, take a wide knee child's pose. So just moving back into those hips. Keep the knees wide, big toes touching, sink the hips back onto the heels. Take the head down. You can do whatever you like with the hands, out in front of you or back towards the feet or bent. But just sink those hips down towards the heels. Sink into the inner thigh stretch, inner groin stretch, lower back stretch. And then after your next exhale, coming back up to tabletop, hands slightly in front of the shoulders, bringing the knees back underneath the hips, and then tuck the toes under and take the hips up into downward dog. So downward dog is great for the hamstrings. Bend the knees if you need, if the hamstrings are tight. But use this posture to really kind of stretch those heels down towards the floor to really open up the back of the legs. Looking back towards the feet, breathing deep. And then from here, look forward and walk or step the feet to the hands. So you end up with the feet underneath the hips in a standing forward fold. And you can, we'll take a few variations of this posture today. So first of all, take Padangustasana. Hook the first 2 fingers and the thumb around the big toe. So bend the knees if you need to find that grip. Drop the head. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. So classic hamstring opener. And then just between, we'll do a little squat between. So just bring the hands to the floor in front and just come onto the toes. So we lift the heels and we sink the hips down. We just end up in a kind of a squatting position. Just rest your hands on your thighs. So your heels are underneath your buttocks, spine is nice and straight. It's a tricky little balance sometimes, keeping high on the ball of the foot. And then from here, we're just going to go back up into our forward fold. So bring the hands down, use the strength in your legs to push the hips up. So you should arrive in exactly the same position that we were just in, feet under the hips. But this time, slide the palms underneath the soles of the feet. So palms face up, one at a time. Slide those hands under. So again, you might need to bend the knees quite a lot to find that connection. And it might just be that your toes touch your fingers. Eventually, the toes touch the inner wrist. Drop the head, keep the knees as bent as you need. Padahastasana. Hamstring stretch. Check the shoulders aren't collapsed around the ears. Draw them back towards the waist. And then inhale, look up. One at a time, lift the feet, release the hands. And then from here, just step your left foot back and start with the low lunge. So you might need to just rearrange yourself. So you've got your right knee above your right ankle, the ball, you're on the ball of the left foot, back knee is off the floor. We're just starting to open up the hip with the runner's lunge here. I often find myself just kind of gliding back and forth in this posture as I'm doing here. If that feels good for you, by all means, give it a go. Or just stay still. And then we're going to release the left knee down, come onto the top of the left foot and really get into the front of the left hip. So we can inhale, stretch the hands up, or keep the fingertips on the floor. Looking up to the fingertips if you've raised the hands. Breathing into the front of that left hip. And then exhale, release the hands down, and we'll come back into a hamstring stretch. So stay on the heel of the right foot as you walk the hands back, lift the toes, fold over the right shin. Half Hamanasana here. Keep active in the right foot, toes to the ceiling. And then bring the sole of the right foot back down. Walk the hands forward again. Just swap the right hand and the right foot over. So you've now got both hands inside your right foot. And we're going to sink into the lizard. So you could keep the back knee down, or if you want to be a little bit more dynamic, you could lift the back knee again. But either way, we're going to drop the chin and the chest down towards the floor. If we're more open, we take the hands forward and come down onto the elbows or towards the elbows. Keep the gaze slightly ahead between the hands. Try not to overdome the upper back here. Try to keep the spine more or less neutral. And then if you've lifted the back knee, release the back knee down. And just walk yourself back up if you're on the elbows, swap the right hand and the foot over, and you have a choice. If you're feeling energetic, you could take a little vinyasa, exhaling down, inhaling upward dog, exhale downward dog, or you could just be in child's pose there or downward dog. So we're going to meet back in downward dog or child's pose, your choice. Benefits of downward dog, as I said, a hamstring stretch, but child's pose is still great for the hips. And then from here, from downward dog or from tabletop, we're just going to bring the left foot forward and come into the runner's lunge on the left side. So we've got the left knee above the ankle or on the ball of the right foot with the back knee lifted. And again, maybe that little glide forward and backwards, if that helps. I just somehow feel it helps open around the hips, groin area for me, or just stay still. And then release the right knee down to the floor, come to the top of the right foot, stay there, or inhale, raise the hands, stretching into the front of the right hip now. We're kind of looking at all the different ways the hip can be stretched and opened. We've done the outer hip, now doing the front of the hip. We've done inner thigh and groin already. And then exhale, release the hands down. Slowly take the weight backwards as you stay on the heel of the left foot. Lift the left toes, fold over the left shin. Half splits. Keep that left foot active. And then bringing the sole of the left foot down again. And we just swap the left hand and foot over. So both hands on the inside of the left foot. And again, you can keep that back knee down or tuck the toe under, lift the right knee off the floor, your choice. And then start to take the chin and the chest down. And again, if you're more open, take the hands further forward, start to bend the arms. Maybe even the elbows come down to the floor or down onto a block. If the knees off the floor, the back knees off the floor, it's just more strong, it's more dynamic. Keep the neck long, the gaze slightly ahead. A couple more breaths. And if that back knee's raised, lower the back knee down. Take a vinyasa if you wish, or just come back to a child's pose or a downward dog. And we'll all meet in child's pose or downward dog. So take your choice here. Great, take some breaths in your downward dog or child's pose. Okay, and then from here, we're going to just walk, step or jump the feet forward to the hands again from downward dog. And once again, come into a standing forward fold. So this time, keep the feet together rather than hip distance apart. And just notice what any difference that you feel in the forward fold. You can just let the arms dangle or hold the opposite elbow, whatever you wish to do here. Sometimes you can feel it a bit differently around the outer hips when the feet are together. You might feel less stable. And then bring the hands to the hips. Strong legs, press through the legs to stand up. We're going to come forward again, but we're going to cross the right foot in front of the left foot, or the right shin in front of the left shin. So you're crossing the legs. So your little toe edges of your feet should be kind of touching. And then we're going to inhale, stretch up. Exhale, forward fold. Obviously, the balance might be a little bit tricky here. It's a bit strange, but you're going to feel it possibly more in the outer hips. Bend the knees if you need. Use blocks under the hands if you need. And then use your core. If you can, just inhale, take the hands all the way up, kind of squeezing the thighs together for stability, or hands to the hips come up, and exhale, release. Uncross the legs. And then obviously we need to go the other way. So cross your left shin in front of the right shin. Little toe edges touching. Your left foot will be in front of your right foot. That's fine. Inhale, stretch the hands up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Take the hands down to a block, to the floor, and maybe to your shin, front shin. Drop the head. Notice any different sensation on the outer hips here, a little bit more intense maybe. And again, if you need to bring the hands to the hips, do so. But if you can, just fire up the core and see if you can just come all the way up the way we went in. So stretching the hands out in front, coming up. Not so good if you've got a weak back, perhaps. And exhale, release the hands down. Great. So we'll just do a few more standing postures and then come down to the floor. So a couple of balances are great for the hamstrings. So we'll go from triangle into half moon. Once we're in half moon balance, I'm just going to give you an extra option, and I'm just going to show you now because you might not be able to see when you're in the posture. So we've got triangle. I'm just kind of doing a sped up version here, into half moon with or without the block. And then your option is Chapasana, where we bring the heel to the buttock and take the top hand back and squeeze the heel to the buttock. So this is a strong thigh stretch, but it's also opening the front of that hip flexor again. Okay, so that's an option. Invitation. So right block near right foot if you know you're going to need it. Turn the left foot in, the right foot out, hips face forward. Inhale here. Exhale, slide the torso to the right. Right hand comes down, left hand comes up. Standard Trikonasana. Working with the hamstrings on both legs actually, and the hips. Take some breaths. And bring the left hand to the hip, turn to face your right foot, bend the right leg, start to step or walk the back foot in, bring the right hand down to the floor underneath the shoulder as you come up. So it's forwards and to the outside of the right foot. Raising the back leg, raising the top hand, the left hand if that feels okay. Ardha Chandrasana, strong in the back leg, toes to the shin, stay here. Or Chapasana option, bends the left heel to the left buttock, take the left hand back, squeeze the front of the foot in towards the buttock. Feel that stretch along the front of the left thigh and hip. Totally optional, can be quite a compression in the lower back. Feel how the standing leg hamstrings being stretched. Open back up into Ardha Chandrasana from Chapasana. And then everybody come out, bending the standing leg, bringing the left foot down and bringing yourself back up to stand. Okay, so there's a lot of hamstring opening on both legs in this sequence. We'll go to the other side, bring your block with you if you need it. Right foot turns in, left foot out, hips forward. Inhale, stretch. Exhale into Trikonasana. Left hand comes down, right hand comes up, looking up. Sideways on, torso in line with the legs as best we can. Chest facing forward as best we can. Back facing the wall behind us as best we can. And then bring the right hand to the right hip, turn to face the floor, bend the standing leg, the left leg, and take the weight forward. So the left hand comes down to the floor, forwards and to the outside of the left foot. Use a block if you need. As we start to raise the right leg off the floor, right leg footed in line with hip eventually, raising the right hand eventually, looking up eventually, or just look down to the floor. Flex the back foot, the right foot, stay here, or heel to buttock, right heel to buttock, right hand comes back, we're holding the top of the foot and squeezing the right heel in towards the buttock to get that thigh stretch, hip flexor stretch on the right leg. Hamstring of the left leg's working, stretching a lot here. You can keep a bend in the standing leg if you need. If you're in Chapasana, open back out to Ardha Chandrasana first. And then everybody bend the standing leg, bring the back foot down, bring yourself up. Beautiful. And just come to face the front of the mat. And we'll just do one more balance, so do one more kind of hamstring focused balance. So when you're ready, step the left foot back, not too far, heels in line, and just bring the hands to the hips. So the hips are facing forward now. So we'll just start with the pyramid pose. Inhale, lift the chest, look up. Exhale, forward fold over the front leg. So you can bring the hands down to the floor or onto that front shin, or use blocks if you have them, need them. Dropping the head, firming the thigh, so drawing up on the kneecaps. Feeling the stretch on the back of the right leg, maybe the left leg as well, that leg. And then after another couple of breaths, we're going to transition into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3 balance. Strong hamstring strengthener and lengthener on the standing leg. So when you're ready, just look forward, bend the right leg, and just start to take the weight forward. You could come straight into the forward posture by reaching the right hand, the hands forward as the left leg lifts behind you, or you could reach the hands behind you to make it easier, or out to the side if you have space. And so your choice. It's very strong on the standing leg hamstrings as well as opening them. So bend the knee if you need. Use your core, belly to spine. And then before we come out, see if you can bring the hands down to the floor again and raise the left leg up behind you for standing splits. Dropping the head towards that right shin. If you feel quite open, maybe walking the hands back either side of the right foot. And then to come out, walk the hands forward again and carefully listen to your back. Lower the left foot next to the right foot and forward fold. So we're back in a standing forward fold here. Bend the knees as much as you need. Just let the arms dangle or hold the opposite elbow. Okay, and then bring the hands to the hips, nice deep bend in the legs, push through the legs, come up with a flat back, and we'll do all that on the other side. Probably your right leg and hip is going to feel quite alive right now, so we'll even up. So step the right foot back, so now your left foot's in forward, not too wide a gap, hip space forward. Inhale, lift the chest and look up. Exhale, forward fold. Use blocks if you have them and need them, otherwise fingertips to the floor either side of that left foot or onto the shin or thigh of the left leg. Dropping the head. Pyramid pose. Hamstring stretch. Slow, deep breaths. And then coming into warrior 3 balance, the Virabhadrasana 3. So just look forward, really connect your core, bend the standing leg and kind of lunge forward slightly. And again, you can come straight up with the arms forward as you lift the back leg or reach the hands behind you. So we're in this capital T-shaped balance, bending the standing leg if you need, if the hamstrings are tight. Remember, we don't want to pop a hamstring, overstretch, force it. And then coming into standing split. So if you can, take the fingertips down to the floor, raise the right leg behind you or up towards the ceiling. Use block under the hands if you need, but if you feel quite open, walk the hands back either side of the left foot and drop the head towards the left shin. Don't worry so much about hip alignment here. We're focusing on the hamstring opening of the standing leg more. And then it's quite a potentially tricky transition, so be really careful, especially if you've got any back issues. Take the hands forward again and slowly lower the right leg all the way down, so it's next to the left leg. Recenter yourself, fold over the shins. Bend the knees if you need. And drop the head, hold the opposite elbow or let the arms dangle. Okay, and then bring the hands to the hips, nice deep bend on the knees, push yourself back up to stand. Just take a moment. So before we come down, we're just going to do one more standing posture. We've already met this wide leg forward fold on our backs. We're going to meet it now standing. So feet nice and wide, toes pointing forward, outer edges of the feet parallel. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Just open the hamstrings slightly differently with the wide leg postures. Release the hands to the floor, relax the back of the neck. Top of the head descends, strong in the legs. Bending the knees as much as you need, but if the legs are straight, draw up on the kneecaps to firm the front of the thighs. And then slowly straighten the arms looking up, walk the hands forward so the hands are kind of underneath the shoulders. Bend the left knee, keep the feet where they are, just bend the left knee, feel that stretch on the inner right thigh. If you need to, walk the hands over to the left as well. Breathe into that stretch. If you want to come into Skandasana, coming all the way down and coming onto the heel of the right foot, toes up to the ceiling, optional. Otherwise, couple more breaths in the skater stretch. And then we'll move to the other side. If you're in Skandasana, bring the hands down, kind of roll back to the original central posture, and then everybody start with the skater stretch on the other side. So the toes are pointing forward, we've done the right knee now till we feel that stretch in the inner left thigh. Maybe we have to walk the hands over to the right as well, a little bit. Maybe we kind of pivot slightly onto the left heel, turn the right toes out a bit more and come into Skandasana, optional. When I stay in the first position, skater stretch. And if you're in Skandasana, bringing the hands down, if you lifted them off the floor, everybody come back to the center, just come back to that forward fold for another couple of breaths, dropping the head, toes pointing forward, breathing into the stretch of the legs, back of the legs, inner legs, maybe outer legs. Bring the hands to the hips, use your core, inhale, come up, we've been down for a while, so exhale, take a moment. And then when you're ready, just step the feet together. Okay, we're going to come down to the floor via a squat. We've done a lot of straight leg postures, so we'll just give ourselves a bit of a counter for all of that. So turn the toes out, feet mat distance apart. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bend the knees, sink the hips. If you can't go all the way down, go as far as you can. Put the hands on the thighs and stay there. But otherwise, sinking all the way down into Malasana squat. Maybe we need to keep the fingers on the floor. Maybe we can have the palms together at the chest. Elbows press inner thighs, lifting through the spine. So we kind of give the hamstrings a break here, the legs bent, but we get into the inner hips. Great, and then to come out of here, just have your hands behind you, let the hips come down and come straight into Baddha Konasana, which is a kind of a similar feeling in some ways. So we've got the soles of the feet together, the legs are very bent again. And we just hold the outer edges of the feet and allow the knees to go to wherever they get to. Maybe opening the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, drawing the chin in slightly, lifting up through the spine. Drawing the chest forward through the upper arms. Taking some breaths. Just going to change the angle. Great. So just taking a few more breaths here. Classic hip opener. Not force, just trust gravity. Wherever the knees are, they're just where they need to be. And then from here, we're going to move into Upadishta. So just one at a time, stretch the legs out wide. So again, here we are again with the wide leg forward fold, but now seated. So toes pointing up towards the ceiling. So this gets both hamstrings and hips. So just take a moment, just settling, activating the legs, and then see if you can inhale and stretch the fingertips up whilst pressing down through the tailbone and the base of the pelvis, and then bring the hands forward, start to move into that forward fold again, but now seated. So just take the hands as far forward as is right for you, feeling that stretch on the inner thighs, but maybe the back of the thighs as well. When you get to your limit, drop the head, take some slow, deep breaths, keeping the legs active, toes pointing up. And then when you're ready, maybe you need a couple more breaths, but when you feel ready, you start to walk the hands back in. Beautiful. And then just bring your hands to the back of the knees and just allow the heels to kind of slide in a little bit. And bring the hands to the inside of the knees and take hold of the big toes with the first two finger and the thumb. It's like you wrap the first two fingers around the base of the toes and hold with the thumb as well. So we did this already lying on our back, pretty much done exactly the same. So just one at a time, keep the left heel down on the floor for now and just experiment straightening the right leg or moving towards straight. Try to keep lifting out of the lower back as you do this. So you might just get kind of halfway or just a little way, and then bring that leg back in. Do the same with the left leg. Keep lifting out of the lower back. Explore coming towards straight. Whatever that looks like for you. No right or wrong. And bring that leg back in. So this time we're going to keep lifting out of the lower back, lean back so both heels are off the floor. And just, if you know you can do this, do what we just did both at the same time to come into Urdhva Upavishta, or just one at a time again, explore straightening one leg. Okay, so exploring Urdhva Upavishta. So here we are in that same shape, but now balancing on the sacrum. If you roll back, this is fine. If you feel very comfortable, drop the head all the way back and look up. Keep lifting out of the lower back. Really good. Okay, and then just come down for a moment and just have a little look. Make sure you're quite near the front of your mat. So we're just going to do one more variation of this shape. So if you were just if you weren't in Urdhva Upavishta, then this next invitation is probably not going to work for you. Just practice this one again, the Urdhva. If you got there, more or less, to stay here and balance the sacrum, we have to lift out of the lower back. But then I want you to actively curve the back and allow yourself to come back, to roll back and see if you can come to, actually can't remember what this posture is called, but it's the same shape, but now we're kind of more in a shoulder stand shape, and just hold for a few breaths. And then to come out, you could just bend the knees and roll out. But if you can, see if you can roll back, hold Urdhva Upavishta one more time, and then come down. Okay, so just have a little play. Might not look like that. And once you get back to come out, you can always just kind of release the feet, bend the knees and roll out as well, just like coming onto your back. So just have a little experiment. Even if you just practice Urdhva Upavishta again, that's it, Bernie, nice. And if you don't want to do it, remember everything's an invitation. Yay. Go, Miriam. Excellent. Yeah, really good, Bernie. Great stuff. Okay, so just knowing when we do this variation, we have to actually curve the back, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, so let's just do a seated forward fold. Let's just come back to the hamstrings and then we'll come down onto our back to finish. Okay, so just stretch the legs out in front of you. We've done a lot of wide leg, but now legs together. Inhale, stretch up through the arms and hands, and exhale, just classic Paschimottanasana. We just come forward, let the hands meet the legs or the feet wherever they meet. And we're going to take a nice long hold here, at least 10 slow deep breaths. Try to keep the legs active, the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Breathe into the upper back, drop the head. And just let the posture kind of develop. Maybe after 5 or so breaths, you might take the hands just ever so slightly further forward. Okay, and then slowly start to bring yourself back up. Before we come down, actually, we'll revisit the outer hips, but from a seated position. So we often do pigeon, but this is like a seated version of pigeon. So as you extend your left leg out in front of you, and just like we do in thread the needle, flex the right foot and place that outer right ankle on the front of the left thigh, with the knee out to the side, and just have your hands back like a kind of prop. Some people prefer fingertips behind, I prefer fingertips forward. Okay, so already here you might feel something. If you don't feel anything, just start to bend the left leg. So bring the sole of the left foot down and bend the left knee. You may now feel something here. If it's too much, you can take the hands back and the foot forward. If you don't feel anything, you just gradually walk the hands closer and bring that left foot closer. Maybe you need to actually pick up the buttocks and move them closer to the left heel. So basically, the more kind of concertinaed and closed in towards ourself we get, the more intense the stretch is on the outer right hip, and vice versa. The more kind of open and spread we are, the less intense. So you have to find the place where you feel it here. So you might have the chest more or less touching the shin, or you might be quite spread. So just find your place that's right. Your left foot is in front of the left hip. And breathe into the stretch. So it's a kind of a different way of doing a pigeon. Lifting out of the spine, trying not to collapse. A few more breaths. Right. Just one more invitation. Come out if you need, or you can twist it. You can lean into the left hand, reach up through the right side, and bring the right upper arm to the outside, so the sole of the right foot, or to the outside of the left thigh, and kind of lift through the spine, maybe just pressing the elbow or upper arm into the sole of the foot if you have that connection, lifting up through the spine and turning to look over your left shoulder. This can be pretty intense. It's not for everyone. If it feels at all not good in your back, don't do this. Come out, or just take a few more breaths in the non-twisted version. And if you're twisted, slowly unwind, come back to the center, release that right hand back down. We're all going to come out of this posture now. So straighten the left leg, straighten the right leg. You need to just give your leg any massage or anything when you do. So we'll come in on the other side the same way. So right leg is straight first on the floor, flexing the left foot, outer left ankle in front of the right thigh. The toes, the foot flex, the toes point up towards the right toes. And then we just kind of explore until we find our edge. So got the hands behind us as a prop. We can bend the right leg, bring the sole of the right foot down, keeping that left foot strongly flexed. We can open it all out if we need, hands back, foot forward, or we can close it all in if we need, scooting the buttocks closer to the right heel if necessary. Chest possibly touching left lower leg. Find your position, lift up through the spine, maybe from the fingertips even. Take some breaths. So the chest should feel quite open if we can. Make sure your right heel is in front of your right hip. It's a tendency for it to creep towards the center. Again, you can just stay here, or you can come out, or you might need to take the hand back a little bit if you're very closed in. We can lean into the right hand, stretch up through the left side, twist from the navel to bring the upper arm to the outside, upper left arm to the outside of the right thigh, and maybe your upper arm kind of compress against the sole of the left foot if that's a possibility for you. And then we just lift up through the spine, twist, turn towards the right shoulder. Optional. If it feels dodgy, don't do it. Be the master of your own practice. Listen to your body wisdom. And at the end of the next exhale, untwist. If you've twisted, just carefully bring that left arm back. Bring yourself back to the central arrangement and then just release the left leg. Let the right leg come out. We're going to come down onto our back. So just lower yourself down here. And we're going to open the front of the thighs with a back bend. If you wish, you could do this with the brick. I really like to do this at the moment with the brick because it's allowing me, so taking the brick under the sacrum doesn't need to be high. I'm enjoying at the moment to do this with the legs straight to make sure the sacrum is not too low or not too high, and feeling that what that's doing to the kind of inner thigh, inner groin. So for me, this is feeling quite releasing at the moment, but it can compress the lower back too much. So it can also just feel really lovely with the knees bent. You get this lovely passive inversion of the pelvic floor or abdominal organs moving towards the heart and the brain rather than dumping into the pelvic floor like they normally do. So it can feel super helpful and nourishing and releasing around the lower belly and the pelvic floor. If you want to do an active back bend, by all means do. You know, Setu Bandhasana, as I'm just showing here, or even a wheel on the hands and the feet. All of these variations open the front of the hips again, and actually strengthen the hamstrings rather than lengthen them. So for me today, I'm just feeling a good few breaths on the block with my knees bent, but just to give yourself a bit of space to have your own back bend exploration here. You could do a couple of rounds, taking 5 breaths or so, and then coming down and going up again. So just kind of feel what's appropriate for you at this stage of the class. And then we will start to think about coming out of back bend if you haven't already. So if you're on a block, just press through your feet to lift the hips, remove the block, slowly lower the spine down. And everybody come to the constructive rest posture. So we take the feet mat distance apart, just let the inner knees touch. If the inner knees don't touch, take your brick between the inner knees and let the inner knees rest against the block. So we have some kind of feedback that we can rest the legs again. This is important because it's the resting of the legs that releases the groins, the lowest part of the belly, and into the groins and into the pelvic floor. Just feeling the kind of release around the hips area, inner hips, groin area. And also we are stretching the outer hips here gently too, into the lower back. I'm resting my hands on my belly, breathing into the space below my hands, but you can also just have the hands on the floor, whatever feels restful. Let's take a few more breaths here, releasing. Such a good posture to release, let go, relax. And then from here, just bring the knees up, straighten the legs up to the ceiling, reach the hands back, find that capital L shape, downward dog on our back. And then bending both knees into the chest, hands come forward, give yourself a hug. So we're kind of revisiting some of the postures we did at the start. They might feel quite different now at the end of the class, noticing any shift. Slow the breath right down. And then keep hold of the right knee, stretch the left leg out along the floor and hug that right knee into the right side of the chest. Again, we've done this already. This time we're going to take it into a single leg twist, supine twist. So use your left hand to hold the outside of the right knee and draw that right knee across the body over to the left. Right arm extends away. You can rest the right foot on the left thigh or just let it come towards the floor or onto a block or bolster, whatever you feel here. And take some slow, deep breaths into this releasing twist. And slowly coming back, just make sure you've got a little bit of core awareness to protect the back. Come back, make sure you're centrally aligned. We'll start by hugging both knees into the chest again. We'll just come in the same way. So hug both knees in for a moment. Just take 2 or 3 slow, deep breaths here into the lower back again. Enjoy that stretch. And then when you're ready, extend the right leg down the mat, giving that left knee a nice squeeze into the left side of the chest for a moment, pushing out through the right heel. And then use your right hand on the outside of the left knee to draw it across the body, allow the right leg to roll with you, extend your left arm away in the opposite direction, look over your left shoulder. Right foot can rest on left leg or on the floor or on a support. Slow the breath right down. And just find your core awareness as you roll back to the center. And just centrally align the spine and the pelvis. Up to you, maybe one more knees into the chest, maybe a happy baby to finish. Just take a symmetrical posture for a few breaths. Maybe one last time you want to explore from happy baby Supta Upavishta that we explored at the start of the class, with either one leg at a time or both legs at the same time, moving towards straight. Pressing the sacrum down towards the floor if you're in the full posture. I love this posture. And then when you feel ready, if you've been in Supta Upavishta or a happy baby, maybe knees together for just one last little hug, and then Shavasana. Just letting the feet flop out to the side, arms away from the side, palms up, check the spine and the pelvis are neutral, and the head and the neck. And then just let go of all effort. Notice how your legs and your hips feel. A lot has moved. Maybe they feel quite fuzzy and warm and alive. Be super vigilant, mindful about any feedback that suggests you perhaps went a bit far. It's important to take note of such feedback and modify in your next practice or in your day-to-day life following the class if there's any little niggles. Taking care of ourselves. Ahimsa, non-harm. And then just let go of the mental effort, physical effort. Let go of breath control. Just let yourself release. Release. And as always, if you wish for a longer shavasana, please stay where you are. If you wish to close with me at the end of the class, just start to deepen the breath, wiggle the fingers and the toes, move the head slightly. And take any stretches that feel good. And gradually, in your own time, return to seated. So, taking a moment to close, maybe in gratitude to your hips and hamstrings, or anything you feel grateful for, your yoga practice, yourself, taking time to practice this evening. Cultivate the attitude of gratitude. And then when you feel complete, open the eyes if they're closed. Thank you for practicing with me this evening. Namaste. And I'll see you soon.